This then is the Annke, and I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, or Annke Traffic camera, and it basically sits in your car, mounted to the windscreen or windshield, depending on whereabouts in the world you are. You can have an optional GPS unit which plugs in here on my left thumb. It slides into a bracket which is fitted with a suction cup on the top here. It's got a very good lens, and you can see it's Super HD it records in. It also records in HDR, which means that the balance between the daylight and the darkness of the road is maintained, and you don't get a whole load of daylight or a whole load of darkness. It's a nice mixture of the two. So there you can see that's where the GPS plugs in. This is where the power plugs in. I have found that you need the power plugged in pretty much all the time, or else it goes flat. It goes flat very quickly. There are some buttons on the bottom here which are easily locatable, and you can see here that's the main power button down there. There are other buttons here for navigating, a menu button, a mode button. It has a few little tricks up its sleeve. If we go into menu, let's just stop this recording here. Go into menu, we can adjust the video resolution here. I think I've got that set to the highest resolution here, 2560 by 1080p. You can adjust that up to 2304 by 1296, so it wasn't quite the highest resolution, apologies, but make more use of your memory card. You can put a memory card at the side here. It's a micro SD card slot there. I've got a 16 gig card in there. You can, if anything happens, you push this button on the back here, which basically records or stores the previous few minutes of footage. So if something's just happened, say somebody's pulled out on you, or there's been a bit of road rage or something like that, you push that and it takes the last few minutes and stores it in a different folder on the storage card. Now I'm just going to try and get to that storage card because I have had a few issues with this. You can see here I can take photos, and I can scroll through to the video footage mode. When this micro SD card gets full, it just plain refuses to show any files, so you can't actually delete any. Now in theory it should not get full, because when you are recording, let's just go back to mode, let's say, right, I want to record. Now if I want to store something, I press this button here, and it says at the bottom, you've stored event number 13 of 50. Now I presumed, of course, like many people would, that that meant there was 50 events that I could store, but it seems that it will just fill up the storage card and then stop recording. You'll notice it'll stop recording. So when it does stop recording, I've found that if I go into menu and into my stored files like this, it won't actually show me any files whatsoever. Now this is the live footage folder here, so that's what it's recorded in its time. So if you forget to push this button here, don't worry too much. You go into your live footage folder, say a day or two afterwards, and it'll still be there. It stores it in little chunks, video, which is separated up. So basically it will say film, say 5 minutes, store that, save it, another 5 minutes, store that, save it, and it will keep on going until the oldest file is pushed out, and then it replaces it with a new file, and then the oldest file gets pushed out. So here, let me see if I can show you something. Let's navigate through this system here. So that is the event I have just selected. So if I press OK, and then OK again, that plays the little file that I've stored as an event. Now if I go back here, OK. By the way, there is a manual that you get with this, but it is next to useless, if I'm honest. Here are all the bits of video that it's been recording while I have not been in the car. I've left it basically filming constantly. I just leave it on. I don't bother turning it off. And you can see here the bits of footage it's recorded. And this is what I said about how it overwrites the oldest footage. So here you got the footage from 0247, and we can have a look at that. So even though I wasn't in the car and I didn't press the event button here, it's recorded a rather boring bit of footage there of the rain on my windscreen, which is pretty dull. But if you want to watch that, then you can. You can just about see the raindrops dripping down on the video there. So if I go back into my events folder, click on OK, and then I scroll through here, you can see some of the events that I've captured. It's very good in low light situations, I must say. I will show you some demonstrations in another YouTube video. I'll get this a bit closer to the camera for you, but you can see here, this is some low light footage. You can see how smooth it is. It doesn't bounce or wobble, and it is very, very smooth indeed. So here's just a bit of footage I've filmed for you, and we'll be putting that into a different YouTube video. And you can see how easy it is for me to watch this. You can, of course, take the micro SD card out, stick it into a micro SD reader on your computer, and then watch it live on there. But you can watch back any of the events that you've had, and you can maybe upload them somewhere or whatever you want. Now, there's a lot of options here, like I touched upon earlier. So they've got the video resolution, image quality, the time-lapse setting. I've set that to off, but you can set a time-lapse, so it takes a snapshot every few seconds. These are all the default settings, by the way. The meter mode setting, you can set it to center or off. Oh, not off, rather. You can set it to average or spot. And you've also got a range of other settings. Anti-flicker, your stamp setting. You can put things like your name. You can put your name on there if you wish. And the time, the date. We've got a loop recording setting. See, it's like every 5 minutes. So basically, it will record 5 minutes of footage, save that, create another file, 5 more minutes of footage, save that, another 5 minutes of footage, save that, and it won't break up, so there won't be a gap in between. It'll be a nice smooth bit of recording. You can adjust this to every 3 minutes, 1 minute, or completely off if you wish. I've got it set to loop every 5 minutes. You've got this ADAS detection system, which it actually says in the manual, and quite rightly so, please leave this turned off. I don't know why you would put a feature in which you actually recommend be disabled, but basically what this seems to do is it will tell you if you're coming out of your lane. And here in the UK we drive on the left, and it doesn't seem to understand that trees and other bits of street furniture are coming at you from the left hand side, and it presumes that those bits of street furniture are other cars, and it beeps a lot, tells you if you're getting anywhere near any sort of lane. It's more annoying than anything else, so I turn that off. ADAS calibration, you can check that. You've got a G sensor setting, so that basically it will automatically record some footage, I believe. Again, the manual isn't clear, if you have a sharp braking situation. You've got motion detection, so you can set that to record if there's any motion. I've set that to off. You've got the microphone, you can turn that on or off, and you've got a park mode, which again, the details aren't too clear, but you can set that on or off. I couldn't actually find, let's set that to on. I couldn't actually find an option to turn off the screen, which I really wanted to do. The screen at night time is quite bright, and I didn't really want it on all the time because I was quite lazy. I didn't turn this off when I got home. I just left it recording. Language setting, the card volume, the system mode, I can check that. So I'm going to set that to PAL. The driver ID, see, that's where you put in your name on this miniature keyboard. Sorry, it's going off the screen a bit there for you. Also, we've got the time setup, auto power off setting. So here you can see, you can set it off if you don't press record or press, anything. So if it's not recording and you don't interact with it, it'll turn off after 3 minutes. We can reset the factory defaults there on default setting. We have got the backlight. Oh, I stand corrected. I did not see this. Right, backlight off. I'm going to set that to go off after 1 minute. I stand corrected here. It does actually allow you to turn off the backlight. The beep sound setting, you change that, and the version ID information. Now, from what I've seen of this little camera, and I know there's lots of them on sale, but this little camera does actually record very well indeed. It can get a bit upset sometimes if you do fire off a lot of events and you don't empty the storage card, and then it basically fills up the live event folder by itself by accident. It seems that if you're sort of recording lots of events and hitting that events button 2 or 3 times in one journey, it sort of upsets the live recording. So it's best if you have got, say, more than 10 events on your memory card, just to empty those off and upload them to YouTube or whatever you want to do. Also, on the top here, we've got a HDMI output, so you can put it straight into your TV without messing around with any micro SD cards or anything like that. The lens is fantastic. The quality of the picture and the video is fantastic. The look of the camera is very good indeed. And I haven't had any problems with it. The manual, I must say, is completely useless, and I wouldn't read it, wouldn't bother reading it. It doesn't really give you any assistance or help whatsoever. It's written in incredibly bad English, but the camera itself is of good quality. The footage that it takes is of fantastic quality and really clear, and I'll show you those. But that is a little overview of this little miniature safety / traffic camera from Annke, and it's very nice indeed.